Ionian Home Moon, 61 Cygni System. Two people were sitting in a small, windowless office, separated by a polished black stone desk. A distinct haze was slowly filling the room as the person behind the desk burned through almost a week's worth of smolderweed. Admiral Urkpuan looked at the papers he was about to sign and mentally sighed. One last chance to stop this. Let me get this correct. You think that there might be aliens in a nearby hot star system. Despite us never successfully breaching these hot stars, you want to take our newest, most expensive stealth ship over there, and once you reach their star's exclusion zone, detonate a nuclear device to brute force your way in. Do you know how much more paperwork I have to do to approve the transfer of a single goddamn bomb, let alone actually detonating two of them? Captain Tothquap nodded. I understand the concern, Admiral, but I promise that the ship will be fine. We've been trying to breach a hot star system for years now, and this is the perfect opportunity to field test our new drive system. Slapping the papers on the desk, Urgpuan ran his hands through his hair. It's insane. We didn't spend the last 3 years building a warship to throw it away on a whim. What if they turn out to be hostile? You'll be completely on your own out there. If your exfiltration warp fails, you'll be trapped in that system for what, 100 years? We can't even send an FTL messenger ship to get quick updates because you'll be behind that damn firewall. I understand the risks, Admiral. The entire crew has been selected for their experience during long operations, and we have multiple diplomats and linguists on board. And, to be honest, if the extraction warp fails, we won't have to worry about being stuck for very long. The Admiral sighed. Fine. Sometimes I wish you would just take a desk job, so I wouldn't worry so much. Also, I recently received a request by the War Department to send a standard scouting ship to loiter near the star's exclusion zone. They want to test how detectable the new warp drive is in actual practice. They will be the closest support you have, and we estimate a 20-hour delay in communication, so be careful out there. Dismissed. The Admiral stood up. And for the love of Aya, don't start a war with the first aliens we meet. Tothquap saluted and exited. Taking a moving walkway to the hangar, warm air blew by his face. A calming river of magma below ran along the cave below the walkway for a few hundred meters. All 50 of the crew were sitting in a small auditorium. He walked to a podium on the stage and addressed the crowd. Just yesterday, we detected even more unexplainable signs of warp travel emanating from the Alpha Centauri star system, although they seem to be more concentrated around the Sol system. Our job for the foreseeable future is to discover the source of warp emissions and analyze them as a threat. We will potentially make first contact with another sapient civilization. Once we reach the system, we will detonate a thermonuclear device in order to provide enough instantaneous power to stabilize the warp field and push through the system. If all goes well, we will then rendezvous with a ship waiting for us outside of the system. We set flight in 2 days. Hub Station, Polar Titan Orbit, 11 months, 1 week after Pulse. There are 6 dock sections of the station, each made to handle a different class of ship. Dock 1 and 2 handle craft under 100 tons, with a total capacity of 10,000 ships. Docks 3 and 4 handle medium-weight spacecraft, ranging from 100 tons to 2,000 tons. Docks 5 and 6 handle heavy and ultra-heavy spacecraft, ranging from 2,000 tons to 30 kilotons. These are kept in 0G in order to make maintenance easier and reduce structural loading on the station. The docks are arranged in 3 separate concentric rings cut into the body of the central hub. The center of the dock handles Class 5 and 6 ships, while the second ring outwards handles Class 3 and 4, and the third inner ring handles Class 1 and 2 spacecraft. For ships Class 4 and below, a set of arms rotate backwards at the same rate to be stationary relative to the ships coming in, and grab the ship by the docking hardpoints. Once secured, the arms slowly accelerate to match the station's rotation, and lower the ships through an airlock to the docking pads. Once docked, the arms go back and collect more spacecraft, and the airlock closes to allow the ship to be maintained within an atmospheric environment. Torch Bridge, rendezvous trajectory with Hub Station, 5 kilometers out. 11 months, 1 week after Pulse. Captain William Monger was velcroed to his station in the center of the bridge. Looking at the video feed, he watched as the glowing station slowly filled more and more of his field of view. She is quite the beauty, isn't she? John said from behind him. Turning his chair around, he looked at John. Aye, it's pretty easy on the eyes, especially after such a long trip. I love being captain, but I'd say some off-ship R&R would be welcome. Hey, they've made some upgrades to their VR room. You guys should check it out, Dave said. I've already booked some time for Igor, Chekhov, Monica, and I to do some VR laser tag. William shook his head. Maybe I'll try it, but I'd rather check out the artificial beach they have on Titan. Big-ass building with 3 different biomes of beach in a circle with a wave generator in the center of the pool. That looks fun. A notification alarm beeped on his display. Shouldn't get sidetracked. Looks like we're finally ready to begin docking. The almost unnoticeable acceleration they were under for the last week had eventually slowed the Torch's velocity with the station to the point where the internal docking system would be able to compensate. Undocking tugs 1 through 10, done. Undocking tugs 11 through 20, done. William put his piloting headset on. Taking a moment to get himself oriented, he took in the view of all the ship's cameras spliced together and activated manual piloting. Looking good. They're clear of the ship. Torch to Tower 5. We're ready to dock. Tower 5 to Torch. Understood. Keep your velocity below 5 meters per second. Making minuscule adjustments to the ship, he slowly guided it in. They felt a small jolt and a series of quiet ka-chunks as the docking arms grabbed the hardpoints vacated by the drones. Once it was completely locked into position, they felt a weak lateral acceleration as the ship was pulled into a maintenance hangar. Monica broke the silence. Woo! Finally get out of this tin can and onto a bigger tin can! Yeah. But at least the station has places to buy shit I don't need, Carl replied. As soon as I'm done personally checking every square millimeter of the pusher plate hydraulic system, I'm going to burn half my paycheck on, stuff. The captain sighed. Carl, need I remind you that you're the second highest clearance level here? You have responsibility to not say stupid shit in front of me. Anyways, a specialist crew got fast-tracked here to ensure the integrity of the remaining nukes, and to do a deep integrity scan and repair of the ship. Our next shipment of nukes will take a few days to load once the hull's completely repaired. Carl, Donovan, or I need to be present to oversee the loading of the nuclear devices, so we'll take shifts. Carl, you're going to need to take first shift while I get some damn paperwork done. Dave, coordinate with them, will you? Of course, sir. Hub station. 11 months, 1 week, 1 day after Pulse. Why the hell did I say yes to this? This goddamn idea is so fucking stupid, goddamn it all! Kyle was bundled in a top-of-the-line ablative exosuit, sitting in the waiting area for Titan-bound shuttle launches. Surrounding him were all 7 members of the Torch's EVA team. Hey, Kyle, don't worry about it. There hasn't been a fatality in this sport for 5 years. At least on Titan. Katie tried to cheer him up. Trust me, I've done it a dozen times, and it gets better every time. Kyle blanched. Look, I've done some stupid idiocy in my lifetime, but throwing myself out of a shuttle while it's re-entering an atmosphere takes the cake for most dangerous thing I've done. Bullshit! Didn't you literally blow yourself up with a nuke and survive? Bernard laughed. You also stared down a multi-ton piece of an exploding tank coming directly at you without flinching. How is this the most dangerous thing you've done? During all of those situations, I personally built all of the equipment, and I wasn't even conscious for 99% of the time when I got warped. Even if these exosuits are built to survive re-entry, I have no idea how any of this actually works. Just do it for the video. You're recording everything, right? Katie again. Well, yeah. If I have to go through this, the Quirdians are going to get to see this in VR as well. Ha! That's the spirit. Well, you're not actually backing... Bzzzt. Igor stood up. That's our cue. Last chance to get off. The shuttle left fully laden. Once the shuttle cleared the station, Kyle heard the pilot start speaking. This is Hector Echo Echo to Tower 4. Commence flight plan LS-20. They were pushed back in their seats as the shuttle began accelerating hard under the power of directed energy. After a few minutes of this, the door between the cockpit and passenger area closed, and a voice was heard over the intercom. All right, crew, this is the pilot. In 30 seconds, we're going to hit the atmosphere at approximately 2 kilometers a second. You will be ejected out every 2 seconds. For any newbies out there, remain calm and enjoy the ride. If you start flailing around uncontrollably, the suit will override your controls. Good luck, and Godspeed! The rear doors flew open, and Kyle watched as, one by one, The EVA team got flung out into the pitch blackness of a moon's shadow. Just as he was having even harder reservations, he felt a heavy push and he got catapulted backwards. Struggling to breathe deeply, he heard the suit fire cold gas thrusters to adjust his attitude to be face down. The shuttle was long gone at this point. Relax, it's fine. Once he was stabilized, it actually just felt like he was floating in space. It was almost peaceful. Then he started to see plasma coming off of his hands as he plunged deeper into the atmosphere. Feeling the heat slowly increase on his face, his visor automatically darkened to prevent excess infrared radiation from giving him a burn. His sides started humming as a pump poured liters of water out microscopic holes in the visor to perspiration cool the surface. At first, the heat was what he was worried about. Then came the crushing sensation of acceleration. Remember the 15-minute training video. Breathe! 10 seconds into the acceleration, he found himself focusing on his altitude meter. He watched as it stopped ticking down and went into another climb through nothing but atmospheric lift and inertia. 10 minutes before the next re-entry, as he was floating, weightless, he watched a faint sun rise over the orange and white high-altitude clouds for the first time in months. Taking in a jittery breath, he forced himself to try and calm down and enjoy the astounding view. In the distance, he thought he could see a pinpoint of light flashing. As the altitude indicator ticked down once again, he felt the embrace of the atmosphere once again. Another 3 minutes of aerobraking and he was down to only just above the sound barrier. Suddenly, he heard the radio chirp. Hey, Kyle, look behind you! What? Arms wrapped around him as an impact flipped him so he was falling backwards. His stomach felt like it was going into his throat. Fuck! Igor! You should have seen the look on your face. Oh my lord! Dude, what the hell? Relax. Igor kept giggling for a bit. You were the closest person to me after re-entry. I couldn't not prank you like that. Ugh, man, you guys are too hardcore. You scared the crap out of me. Igor helped him straighten out again and grabbed his hand so they were falling face to face. Wisps of frozen hydrocarbons were flying past as they descended towards the inky orange nothingness of the lower atmosphere. Well, it's been fun, but I gotta get going. You what? Igor released Kyle and, with the assistance of the suit's gas thrusters, oriented himself face down. Gaining more speed every second, Kyle watched him disappear into the clouds, seconds before he joined him. A sudden blackness surrounded him as he plunged into a particularly dense cloud, causing him to activate the HUD. Deploying parachute. One more jerk and he was hanging by a glide parachute. Relaxing, he allowed the suit to take control over the piloting. Minutes later, he punched through the cloud layer and saw the facility they were going to be landing at. Sitting on the shores next to a massive lake, the complex had 10 landing pads arranged in a line, a dock with what looked like actual sailboats on it, and a runway. The suit landed him on one of the landing pads and he crumpled to his knees. Please clear pad. Quickly getting up, he moon-hopped off the pad and found the rest of the crew talking to each other. Igor saw him and turned. You survived! He had to chuckle. Yes, I did. Captain's office. Torch. William was sitting at his desk, writing a debrief when his communication pad lit up with a new message from command. Captain William Robert Monger, we hope you're doing well. As you know, we've been attempting to drive progress with warp technology ever since we met the Quirtians. With some help from Kyle, we fleshed out his accidental pulsed warp system into a reusable setup, which runs on high-energy detonations. By significantly limiting the speed and total distance warped every time a channel is generated, we can greatly increase the stability of each warp, to the point where the channel closes when we decide to, even within the confines of the heliosphere. We've sent the blueprints to Hub Station. Because of the sheer amount of energy required to achieve these warps, we've decided to assign your ship to be a testing ground of sorts. Also, we recognize the risk involved, so you will not need to warp anything but inanimate matter until it is a tried and true technology. Thank you for your outstanding service. Signed, Samuel Johnson, Bill Longman, co-presidents of Seoul Space Association. Smiling, William closed the message.